Alright, ladies and gents, welcome to this video here, this wee impromptu video actually here on CM42 TV tonight. And I was just sitting about, I was filming some videos for this upcoming week here on CM42 TV, so stay tuned, some good stuff coming up. And the XFL was on in the background, just on a telly in the background, and it's the inaugural day, opening day for the Extreme Football League. XFL's back. XFL 2020, which is weird, and of course American football isn't my number one, choice of sport, because I'm here in Glasgow in Scotland. American football is called American football for a reason, not our football. Our football is probably further up in my list in terms of things that I prioritise more, but I'm a big NFL fan, a big American football fan. I support the Minnesota Vikings, as I'm sure people who follow me on Twitter know, at CM42 by the way, and also on Instagram. I don't post about the Vikings though on Instagram, but maybe I will now. So yeah, a couple of years ago, I'm going to say 2014 was the first time I watched the NFL. And since about 2017 is when, I've been following it very, properly, intensely, going out of my way every Sunday to watch the Red Zone and to watch the playoffs and to watch my game. But since 2014, every year I watched the Super Bowl and I've kind of known what's going on. But 2017, 18, 19 and now into 2020, those seasons have been what I've been kind of most focused on. And it's been getting more and more as the years have been going on, which is great. But football season isn't over apparently. The XFL is picked up where the NFL has let off. The NFL finished last week with the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs deservedly winning this year's Super Bowl. A very game San Francisco 49ers, a really close and tight Super Bowl, and I thought the the halftime show with J-Lo and Shakira was great actually. I thought it was awesome. I said that weird, I thought it was awesome. But I just did, I really enjoyed it, and of course, you can't go wrong checking those guys out or those girls out in a show like that, so it was such a fun and like they put on a show. It felt like sometimes the halftime shows I think just drag a wee bit because the artists try to do every song they've ever sang and every song they've ever put out, whereas J-Lo and Shakira actually thought, let's make a show, a bit like Beyonce when she done it, and even Justin Timberlake to an extent, who I love, but Maroon 5 last year were just awful. I hated their show, but whatever. And I also thought the trailers, the adverts, the big game TV spots were all very cool. I reacted to a bunch of them here. No Time to Die, the Marvel ones, and the Black Widow one, and the Mulan trailer. Reacted to them all here on CM42 TV, so go check out my first reactions and impressions of those. And now here we are a week later and the XFL has started. The XFL, which is founded and CEO'd, I believe, by one Vince McMahon. Now, back when the first XFL was a thing back in 2001, I was just a wee guy. I was 4. I didn't know what American football was. I didn't know the difference between our football and American football. So how would I know? But of course, back then it was all these mad renegades. It was all these mad, outcasts and people who got sacked from the NFL and people who can't make it through college football and people who have just started college football, and it's just random roster of players. And it was like all the rules were kind of thrown out the window. It was much more aggressive and you could tackle in a more aggressive way and points were counted up differently and all that stuff. But it was revolutionary in some ways because it was like another big football league run by a wrestling promoter, but also like now that sort of camera that you get that kind of pans over the field in American football, and now actually in British and Scottish football and all that stuff in soccer, it happens as well with like a camera like above the pitch in the field, and it kind of goes and you can see up. That was an XFL creation. Like Vince McMahon came up with that started in the XFL, and that's something that they took on for the NFL and that sort of thing. But the XFL just lasted, I think it was one season it lasted, or at least a year and a bit anyway. Like I even remember like going back and watching some old Raws and that sort of thing, and JR sitting on commentary going, remember, if you like the XFL, you need to tell folk you like the XFL so it doesn't get cancelled. And then of course it got cancelled and it just went bust. And now all these years later, 19 years later or something, we're back here for XFL 2020. And it's weird, I didn't really take much note of it. Being an American football fan, I've got the NFL and stuff like that. I didn't really go, oh, brilliant, it's not like it's Raw and SmackDown or, AEW and NXT, like those two competing brands. It was just like another league that's happening, and I was like, fine, there's loads of leagues in our football. There's a Scottish league and the English league and the Spanish league, and then you've got the Champions League and you've got all this stuff. Here in soccer, the MLS, which I've become a big fan of, supporting Orlando City, who are back in action tonight in a wee friendly. going into the new MLS season. I'm really looking forward to it. The MLS has now become part of my summer, so I'm looking forward to checking that out again this summer, seeing how the boys in purple, the Orlando Lions, compete this year. And hope we don't get put out in the semi-finals of the Cup by Atlanta again. You absolute... Anyway, so where was I going with that? Yeah, so the XFL came back, was announced, and I was like, okay, interesting. What's this going to be? And tonight, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, is the opening night, and randomly, the opening games were being streamed on YouTube. And I don't have BT Sport, so I was gutted I wasn't going to get to see it, but it was streamed on YouTube, so I was like, yeah, sure, let's watch this, you know. And I watched, it was the Seattle Dragons who were at the DC Defenders. The DC Defenders won, I think, 33-19. I could be wrong there. But some of the team names are great. They're so like wrestling-esque. I think you get the Tampa Bay Vipers, the Houston Roughnecks, the Dallas Renegades, the New York Guardians, the LA Wildcats. There's actually a real team in existence called the Wildcats. Shout out to East High and Troy Bolton. It's a real team, but it's an American football team, not a basketball team. So I'm sitting here looking at all these teams, and I like the sort of really American names and the really wrestling names, and I'm thinking, who am I going to cheer for? Who am I going to support? You know, when I first got into the NFL, I wanted to support the Seattle Seahawks because I was a Daniel Bryan fan at the time, and that was his team, and I think he won like a Slammy one time, and he was like, "Go Seahawks!" And I was like, "That's my team," you know. And then I watched the Seahawks, and they were so depressing, and they were so boring, and just ruined my happiness every week. And I was like, well, that was when I wasn't really watching every week, but anytime I did see them, I couldn't really get into them. So I was like, right, they're not the team for me. So what, you know, to become a fan of a team, I think there's two ways you can do it. You can't force it on yourself. The two ways to become a fan of a team is to either be brought up with it, you know, through your family. Like over here in this country, we've got the Scottish football, and Rangers are my team because it's my family lineage, you know what I mean? All my family supported Rangers, so I'm a Rangers fan, you know, and they're my number one team in the world. Just like it would be Celtic or Motherwell or Hamilton over here and that sort of thing, wherever, you know, what you were brought up supporting. The other one is just by watching everything and just picking your favourites, like picking people you enjoy watching, picking favourite players, favourite managers, a big moment, you know, that really changes your opinion. And the reason I started supporting the Vikings is because I was watching them and I was always enjoying their games and stuff. And I said, I think in like 2016, 17, that I was like, okay, the Vikings are going to be my team, but I just wasn't, I was kind of just saying that. Something could have happened, I could have fallen out with them. But there's a play in 2018, right before the Super Bowl in 2018, where Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver for the Vikings, probably my favourite NFL player, or Vikings player anyway, had this massive, like, last minute winner. He caught the ball from like over 100 yards. It was this massive, you know, throw. Obviously it couldn't be 100 yards, it would have been like 80 something yards. It was this massive pass, and he scored the touchdown, and the score changed, and the Vikings went through to the, you know, the playoffs or whatever. And it was like that moment, it was called the Miracle in Minneapolis. And it was at that moment I was like, I am a Vikings fan, because it was just that you were kind of saying that in your head, you were kind of wanting to support them, but there's this switch, you know, and like, it just made me go, they're my team now, you know what I mean? And ever since that, I've got the jersey now, I got it for Christmas, I bought the hat when I was in New York. Now I'm a fan, you know, I'm always tweeting about them and stuff, and now the Vikings are my team. And it's just, that's how it happens. You need to have this big moment, this connection, something needs to happen, you just need to enjoy them, you know, and feel love to a team to support them, and that's what's happened with the Vikings. So I don't know. For the XFL, you know, I had in my head it was going to be the Wildcats because they're the name, you know. I've been to New York. I love New York. It's one of my favourite cities ever. I'm actually going back there in the summertime. I thought, okay, it could be the New York Guardians I support, you know. Then I could look at colours. Like, do I support people in blue? Do I support people in purple? You know, I don't know. And then the Seattle Dragons were playing. I like the idea that the Dragons, like, it sounds pure cool. Like maybe something from like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or some mad film or something. I thought that'd be a cool team to support. But they fucking lost tonight. There goes the hope on that. Something about the DC Defenders was a bit boring. I was like, okay, I'm not going to support them. So you need to watch these things, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to watch them every week, obviously, unless they're somehow streamed again on YouTube. But I'll try to watch highlights and that sort of thing, and just see if there's any players with like funny names, if there's like players with like sort of social media presence that really make you take note and they become instant stars. You know, are they going to become my favourite players? And if that's the case, then they'll be my favourite team. So it's going to take time, but initial reaction is really cool. The rules are a little bit different, not anything as much different as the first XFL, but like a few things are a little bit different. Like, for example, once you score a touchdown, you can't kick it for the extra point. There's no kicker. There's 3 different ways to do it. You can get a 2-point conversion, a 5-point conversion, or a 10-point conversion. No, those are yards, 2.5 yards or 10 yards. and then to get 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. That's how you do it after a touchdown. And then in terms of the downtime and that sort of thing between plays, that's sort of shortened, which is quite a good thing, because sometimes the NFL games drag on so long to like 4 hours, and you're like, my God, what has happened? If we can speed that up, that might be quite cool. I don't expect the XFL to be this big thing, but they're playing in big stadiums. You know, they're on Fox, they're on ABC, they're on BT Sport over here. Big networks, you know, so it's all looking promising, you know. It's just was a total disaster last time because the players were dafties, the game wasn't very good, it wasn't very supported. Now it's a new day, it's a new age, it's a new year, it's a whole new league, you know, so let's hopefully the XFL sticks about for a bit and it's not a total $1 million or $10 million, whatever it was, loss for Vince and Titan Sports, you know. So thumbs up so far, enjoyed the first game. Let's see where we go from here. And of course, there's less teams, so it's going to be kind of easier to keep track of, I think, which is quite cool. But I still need to pick a team. I still need to pick some players I like. And I will do that here as we progress in 2020. So thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, I have a Patreon now, patreon.com/CM42TV. If you want some exclusive videos, if you want some more content, all of my reactions uncut and unedited, starting from now anyway. Go over there, patreon.com/CM42TV. I might end up doing some reactions to some XFL games, or even the Red Zone when it comes back in September. Maybe do that on Patreon as well. But I'm going to be on there a lot. It's my duty to you people who wish to support the channel in any way you can. And of course, you can just support by subscribing, sharing with a pal, leaving me a comment. I would love all that stuff. So I'm also on social media, Twitter and Instagram at CM42TV. And until next time, until tomorrow, for a brand new video here on CM42TV. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow will be Straight Sundays, another episode of the George Strait reaction, and another wee bonus video, another music for a brand new song that was released this week, reacting tomorrow. So until next time, folks, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, and let's pick a team in the XFL. Yes.